Hey guys, before we start this episode, I just wanted to say that I got very sick. So there might be some sniffing like that in this episode. Also, we added some images as sort of a visual aid. So if you hear that projector sound, you'll know that there's an image on screen to look at. And I'm almost done with the cartoon, so just chill out. Alright? Okay, that's it. Enjoy the episode. Welcome to the most controversial podcast on the internet.
We talk about the big issues.
The most controversial. Here's a controversial statement right here. All right? Are you ready for this?
Hold on. All right.
Fuck Beyonce. All right? You heard it here. No. What did we do this week?
Well, one thing we did is we watched Steel.
Yeah, I know you wanted to talk about that. That's why I brought it up.
I think we mentioned it. Episode 2, or was it 3? I don't remember what it was, but we mentioned that Shaq, along with making arguably one of the best Genie movies in the world,
Kazam, right?
Kazam, he also attempted to make a superhero movie.
We should have just watched Kazam.
I've watched Kazam,
but I haven't. We should.
I don't know why you think Kazam is this golden nugget, as opposed to like Steel. It was an okay movie, considering two things. Considering it was a '90s action movie, and '90s action movies, superhero movies in particular, are not that great. But it was fine. There was a lot of action. There was
That's
money.
why I didn't like it, because it was fine. I know Kazam is going to be terrible. That's why I want to watch that.
Because you haven't watched the awfulness that is Kazam. You haven't watched Shaquille O'Neal try to rap.
Okay, look. I think this movie was forgettable, is what I'm saying.
Okay, it's forgettable, but it's not bad, necessarily.
No, that's why I didn't like it. Because it just seemed like I said, it is forgettable because it's just very passable as far as, like,
everything
the action
about
was
it.
Okay.
Actually, the action, I think, was one of the highlights, because the action was pretty good.
The suit was, like, whatever. The acting was really shitty. Those two actors in particular, Shaq and whoever plays, like, his grandma, I thought were pretty bad.
She comes out in 2 scenes, man. Like, it was that bad.
It was, yeah.
She was trying to make a souffle the entire time.
The fucking stank of her acting ruined the whole picture for me.
Awful, man. She's probably dead now, man. You're just speaking ill of the dead.
Oh, well. And, but no, I feel like Kazam is, like, so much more blatantly terrible that it would have made more of an impression on me. This one,
So hold on. So your argument is it's the fact that it was good, not great, but not bad.
It was okay. I'm not saying it was good.
You're saying like that the movie, like The Room, it was so bad that people remember it. So you'd rather it be that bad or that good, but you don't want anything in the middle.
No, it's forgettable,
All right. I see your point. But at the same time, we were having this argument earlier. I put it on the same level as Mortal Kombat, because Mortal Kombat the choreography was good, but it's just like everything else about it was just like the song.
It had the song, dude.
I know you love that. I know everybody loved that song.
I don't really like
understand,
that song,
but it didn't really go with the motif. Like, looking at it now, it doesn't go with the motif.
No, but like I was saying before, Mortal Kombat had Goro, which looked amazing. The
puppet, yeah, that was pretty awesome.
It looked amazing. The choreography, the music, it had at least those things going for it. This one was very, like, the music. Oh, remember the intro? What's his name? Steel?
Yeah.
His, like, theme song or whatever sounded a little bit like an Indiana Jones ripoff.
Yeah, and they overused it. They overused it. I got you. Because every time he did anything, that little Indiana Jones-esque sounding music would come up, and then you'd be like, oh, is that Indiana Jones? No. It's like he activates his magnetic powers, which...
I mean, we also saw it, like, on YouTube, and it was clipped horribly.
Yeah, but I'm not going to pay money to watch that. I was just like, I don't want to pay money to watch Kazam either. That thing is awful.
I will pay money to watch Kazam.
It's weird because
1080p. I want the best quality for that movie.
See, here's what both of those Shaq movies stink of, and I'm not speaking badly of Shaq. Like from what I understand, he's a nice guy. He's cool. He hasn't done anything like a lot of NBA players do like crappy things and they get into drugs, blah blah blah. He seems like he's a genuinely good guy. Goes for kids. He's nice to people. I just think that too many people around him were like, yeah, no, dude, go do that, man. You could totally do that.
Too many yes men around.
Yeah,
him.
somebody was like, dude, you're a big dude. You should go out and do like an action movie. And he's like, but do it for the kids.
Do you actually want to go over the movie?
No, I think this is...
No, we can do it. I was just going to set the premise for them.
Go ahead, set the premise. Because I think...
So Steel is like a DC character, which I didn't know. He's a DC character that has like a suit of armor. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And his primary weapon is like this huge sledgehammer.
Right.
And apparently in the comic books, he sports Superman's symbol.
Right.
On his chest, which is very strange. I didn't understand why he just stole somebody else's symbol. I don't read the comics.
I didn't read the comics, but I remember when he like I watched the Superman animated movie or animated series. He wears it because he feels like, oh, it's people will look at this and they'll understand what I'm all about.
Okay, they'll associate me with Superman.
Yeah, exactly. They'll associate, and plus he wears a red cape in the comic books, so it's much more of a similarity to Superman. But in the TV show, he didn't wear the cape.
So he is like a superhero basically, and his origin is that his name is what's his name?
John Henry.
John
Henry Irons.
Very clever.
Yeah. They even mentioned it in the movie, if you remember.
What?
They mentioned, he's like, look, I own John Henry, and he's like, but I don't want it to end the same way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they make a joke.
So they're
about
aware.
It. They're aware
that
about it.
Stole,
plus, his last name is Irons. I'm pretty sure they're really heavy-handed with it.
Yeah, and he's in the army, right?
Yes.
He's in the army, and there's the bad guy Judd Nelson.
Yeah.
He's using this prototype weapon, and he cranks it up too far, and his friend, his girlfriend, whatever, Shaq's girlfriend, whatever, gets injured, and that's how the story starts. So then Shaq hears that this prototype weapon is being put on the streets or something, right? And that's when he decides, someone needs to do something about this. Why not Shaq? So they built him like a suit of armor out of junk or something, right? And and then
because the premise is that in the story, Shaq has ties to the community. Like he knows everybody in the community.
Oh yeah, everyone loves him.
Everybody loves him, and he also knows the guy who owns the junkyard. And then the line is, "I need a lot of stuff," and then the guy that owns the junkyard says, "You'd be surprised what everybody throws away." And he's bringing her like pieces of technology. I'm like, I really doubt they're throwing away military great secret.
They throw away a suit of armor in perfect condition and shit.
No, but apparently Irons also welds and forges steel in his spare time.
Oh yeah, he does that.
He forges his helmet,
okay.
Which I thought was. And you know what's weird is that Shaq had a Superman tattoo during his time in the NBA, so they like highlight it, but they don't put it on the suit of armor. Which, and by the way, this was produced also with the DC license because it says DC Comics.
Yeah, right in the beginning. Because when I saw that, I googled it immediately. I was like, this is a real character.
Yeah.
That exists outside Shaq.
Yeah, exactly. I totally forgot actually because remember when I think in the episode we talk about it or we mention it, I said, oh, he's like. A suit comes from space or something, but I totally forgot it was an actual Superman character.
Yeah.
So that's the story, and it was a whatever story because it kind of mirrored like a lot of throw a rock and it hits a superhero that has kind of a similar origin. And it was a fine movie, had a lot of action in it, a lot of explosions. Shaq jumps around on rooftops and stuff.
It was kind of shitty, but it wasn't shitty enough for me to like it, basically. I
guess it just something has to be so shitty that it reminds you of something.
There's a recurring joke in the whole movie. Do you remember?
There was a lot of recurring jokes. So
no, there's only one. When he walks by the basketball court in the beginning, and they're like, hey, John Henry, why don't you make a shot? John Henry, why don't you shoot the basket? And he tries it, and he misses it, and he says something like, I always miss them free throws.
If
remember
anybody
that?
doesn't understand why that joke is funny,
I didn't.
Shaq, when he played in the NBA, was not very good at free throws.
Okay.
And this is coming from somebody who didn't really follow sports, but I knew that. They actually make fun of it in another place. If you've ever gone to Universal Studios, and I guess ridden the Terminator 2 thing, like the Terminator 2, I guess show. He's in that.
Seen that 3D show?
Yeah, the 3D show.
I don't think that exists anymore.
No, it doesn't. But they used to have. He's like, they were talking about how technology makes things better, and he's like, and they can improve the accuracy of any person. And they have Shaq with some weird lens over his eye,
That sucks.
making a free throw.
That sucks, man. Poor Shaq.
Not poor Shaq. The guy has a good sense of humor. He's made fun of. And by the way, that's the like
O'Neal name getting dragged through the mud.
There's the what's it called? The other joke. There's like a million running jokes in that. One of the other jokes is his grandma keeps trying to make souffles.
Oh, that's right.
And you gotta be quiet.
Right. Yeah.
Because the souffle will deflate.
That's
and they even make that joke
stupid.
when they break into Steele's house. And it's like a SWAT raid.
Uh-huh.
And then she's like, and then it deflates. And while she's being tackled to the floor and below, she goes, "Oh man!" And deflates again. See, it's running jokes.
Okay, but I was just gonna say because the entire last scene rests in the hands of Shaq's free throw. Do you remember that?
I do.
Not only was it like a little joke, but at the end they make it like, oh, this is the climax of the film, which is dumb. But whatever. You said it was an okay movie.
It's an okay movie by that standard. It's like, it's not so bad that you're like, you can watch it and you'll be like, okay, but it's not a kind of movie like when I watched The Room, I turned that off.
That's what I said, man. It's just like, it's forgettable. I wouldn't.
I did not hit her. I did not.
That's yeah. See, that's
hey,
something,
Mark.
That's something people. There's a whole fandom behind The Room because.
But it's
so bad.
awful. It's literally awful.
Yeah.
It's literally awful. It has weird cuts, but see, but you condemn this movie more than The Room.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think The Room is something that like it can't be made again. Like they made a sequel to Samurai Cop or something, right?
Yeah.
And the whole time I heard about that, I was like, how are they gonna do that? Samurai Cop 1 was bad because they were like trying their hardest to make a film and it just turned out shitty. Like, what is Samurai Cop 2 gonna do? It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be as bad, obviously, or it's not gonna be as funny, or it's
right, because they're actually trying to make a serious film. And
I don't understand that.
The first one, I don't know if you guys have. Did you? I don't even know if you've watched it. Did you watch the interview that Red Letter Media did with that guy? And he talked about.
I've never even seen the movie. I just
no, not even watching the movie. Just watch whatever clips you've seen. That's the movie.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's that bad. But if you've ever go back and like anybody who hasn't watched Samurai Cop getting interviewed by the Red Letter Media guys, you would be absolutely flabbergasted by the stories that guy tells about how that movie was shot, who shot it, and how they did pickups. Literally, those parts where you see, like, I forget who the black guy is in the movie, but there are these weird shots in the movie where you just see him react to something, and it looks like he's just in a corner of a room.
Oh yeah, he's and filmed separately.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is that he was in that interview and he's like, oh yeah, so he would call us into his office and be like, he would be editing the film and he had a camera set up to one corner and he's like, hey, go over there and look surprised for like a second, and then the guy would just look surprised for a second and then he would just splice it into the movie right there.
Cool.
So it's like there's a whole mess of crap in there where the guy's like, I'm just getting paid for this film, right? And it's just like, that's why that movie was terrible. So I don't know what the idea is behind Samurai Cop 2, because Samurai Cop 2 would be just a continuation of what story exactly?
In part 1 as well, wasn't he wearing a wig at some point?
Yeah, because
they had to do reshoots or something, and he had already
because it was
hair.
like 6 months later.
Yeah, and he had cut his hair.
And then when he came back in, because the guy had called him back, he's like, "What did you do? Why'd you cut your hair?" He's like, It's 6 months later. He's like, you ruined my movie.
I have a life. Aside Samurai Cop, believe it or not.
Apparently, he cut his hair. I think I remember he cut his hair because it was like the long hair period in Hollywood was coming to an end, and people were just cutting their hair short so that like they would look more modern. So that's why he did it. Which is funny because in the interview he has long hair again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe they're filming for part 2 already.
Poor him and Kevin Sorbo. That look is gone, man.
Kevin Sorbo rocked it though. He looked good in that hair.
I'm not saying he did or he didn't. What I'm saying is that why do they still have that haircut?
You know what? I didn't see that movie, but I think Kung Fury. It was this. Was it a movie? It was like free online or something, but it was made to look shitty as well. I don't know.
It was in the 80s. It was set in the 80s and it was on Netflix.
And was it like? Didn't it look shitty on purpose or something?
Are you talking about Kung Fury or Kung Pao?
No, Kung Fury.
Okay. I never watched that one, but I heard it's really like...
It was a thing for a while.
It was a thing, yeah.
I heard people talking about it and like, oh, you could watch it for free online, and it's supposed to look like 80s or something.
Yeah.
It looks like it's VHS or something.
But it looks really, really bad. But it was like there was some good action in it or something. And there's...
I don't know. I don't know anything about it, so
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't bring it up.
The only reason I thought you were going to bring up Kung Pao was because that movie... When I watched it, I completely hated it.
Is that the one that's supposed to be funny?
It's supposed to be funny because...
It's Stephen Chow?
It's Stephen... No, it's... The guy
that's
who...
Kung Fu Hustle. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. No, Kung Pao is... You remember those weird... Like in the 90s, there was this weird surgence of this guy who did all these parodies of movies, but it was all about a thumb. You remember this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
so...
Thumb Wars.
Exactly, Thumb
yeah.
War, like a Star Wars parody. Okay, so that... But this was his feature length, I believe. And what
Okay.
he did is he didn't actually film a movie. He digitally inserted himself into an 80s kung fu movie.
Oh, cool. Does it look good?
It looks like everything is matched up really well. So like there's this whole story that goes on, and whenever this person's shot from behind, it's the 80s like movie. And then he like splices himself in there somehow. It's supposed to be an exercise in like him trying to make a different narrative that's within the movie. It's really weird. And when I saw it, I turned it off because I was like, this is stupid. But once somebody told me that was the case, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, actually.
Was it good then? Have you seen it?
It's funny,
All
but
right.
only after you know that. I don't know why that helps.
Is it supposed to be serious?
No, it's supposed to be funny. But the
Okay.
whole, like, the movie that he splices himself into is serious.
I gotta see that then.
It's
that sounds interesting.
well, after you hear that, it's kind of interesting. And then this whole part, like the part that was on the trailers was the part where he fights the cow, and he gets two gophers and he makes them into nunchucks. That's the stupidest part. But that's like a little bit of the entire thing. Like this cow that shoots
That's like
milk
the
at
movie
him.
poster.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I do remember
but that part is completely asinine. Like it looked like it was added in after, but the rest of it is really weird and kind of funny.
So Kung Pao and Kung Fu Hustle are both comedy.
Kung Fu Hustle is
They're both
awesome,
They're both
badass
they're both
movie.
like Kung Fu comedy movies.
Yes, but Kung Fu Hustle is it's funny, but the choreography is ridiculously cool because they're using like wires and like it's great.
So that's the one that's Stephen Chow.
Yes, and that's a great movie.
Yeah?
Like I've watched that several times.
Maybe we should watch that next time.
But that's a good movie. What are we going to talk about? Just how good the movie was?
I think I do remember some parts of that. He's like has like a really ugly girlfriend or something, right?
No.
No?
He this is a story where this kind of losery guy keeps like running into trouble and stuff. Like he can't get his life together.
There's not an ugly girl in it.
There is an ugly woman in it.
That's not.
But the thing is, like most of the movie takes place in this little
I think I did see
apartment
some of
building.
it. Okay.
And then there's the landlord of the place is this lady and her husband, and nobody wants to piss her off because she's like wears curlers and she's ugly. And like the premise of the story is that they start trouble there, and then a gang comes after them, and then all these kung fu masters come and try to help them, and they're like, well, we need the one, and then that one person is revealed, and that's where the story kind of finishes up, where the mafia or whatever gets taken away, and everything's back better now.
I got you.
Yeah. I don't want to ruin it for you, so just if you watch it. But that's a great movie, and also he did Shaolin Soccer. That was the other one.
Oh, okay.
That's like the best way to describe that one is like Dragon Ball Z Soccer.
Cool.
It is really cool, and I think it also is trying to be funny. Yeah, because like somebody gets hit with a soccer ball so hard it knocks off all their clothes.
Cool.
And it gets nude. But it's a bald fat man, I believe.
I mean, I did watch another movie this weekend. I watched Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
Doctor
you were
Str-
telling me that movie's badass.
That movie was actually good. They just put it on Netflix, so I would recommend watching it because those. I was gonna buy it, but it's fucking
$20.
it's like $30 for
30?
a movie. I don't know how much it is. It's a lot.
Wow.
It's more money than I have.
I haven't watched it yet, but what I've seen of it, you were telling me earlier it's not formulaic, and which is funny because the trailer that I saw sounded really formulaic.
I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, there are some like conventions that it doesn't follow as far as like superheroes, and I like that movie. It gets to him becoming Doctor Strange like super fast.
Really?
Yeah, like I mean, it's hard to talk about it without like spoiling anything, but I'll just say like first maybe like 10 minutes are him in his prime, and then it just starts.
Wow.
So
That's really fast because I remember like another flagship Marvel movie is Iron Man, and he doesn't become Iron Man for like the first
this one moves
half hour.
This one moves a lot faster, and it's still 2 hours long, so you get a good amount of him doing magical stuff. Like the visual effects and everything are.
Oh yeah, it reminds me of Inception, where the whole thing like folds over and everything.
I mean, if you smoke weed, I would recommend it. Watching this film.
Who are you, Jon Stewart and fucking Half Baked?
Yeah.
On weed.
But no, like if I were to say any part of it is like kind of bad, the jokes were pretty shitty. They make some.
Is it a jokey movie? It didn't seem very jokey.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Like there's some part, like this part's in the trailer where he says, they hand him like a piece of paper with like some gibberish on it, and he's just like, "What is this supposed to be, my mantra?" And then the guy's like, "No, that's the Wi-Fi password. We're not savages." And I was just kind of like, you know what, this movie was pretty serious up until this point. You guys kind of took me out of it, and I don't really like that.
That is the stupidest joke.
I mean, but besides, it's actually now that I think about it, it's all really this just one character who gets
jokey.
Yeah, but okay, whatever.
Well, in terms of the Marvel convention, right? I would like what do you put as like one of the most solid movies out of the Marvel franchise in the last few years? To me, is Iron Man, because that follows the same conventions and it has a really good story. A lot of work went into developing Tony Stark's character, so I would put that pretty high up. Where would you put Doctor Strange?
I don't know. Whenever I watch a movie, I'm like, that movie was fucking 10. It was perfect. Like when you walk out of a theater and you just saw a movie. And you're just like, man, that was an amazing movie. But you go back to it like months later and you're just like, nah, there was some shitty parts to this movie, definitely.
But there's what I call the movie. Well, the thing is, like, there's what I call the movie theater effect. Like everything when you watch it in the movie theater is better. The sound, like the quality, watching it in a dark room, everything is like you're totally focused on this.
Yeah, even the jokes.
Even
the laughter's contagious.
Exactly.
When you laugh at other people.
But you watched it here, in your room, and just you were watching. Like, were you totally focused on it, or did you like work on something while you were watching it?
No, I was engaged in the whole film. I think it's one of the best superhero movies. Really?
Wow,
yeah.
You put it that high up?
Sure, just because it was different to me.
Well, yeah, because one of the crazy things about a lot of Marvel superheroes is they're not really superheroes. They're like people that get powers through some other means. Like Tony Stark is one of them, and then like the Hulk is another one. He gets his powers unconventionally. Then this Doctor Strange, from what I understand, he learns his powers.
He's just magic.
But he learns it. He doesn't get like an amulet and then he's badass, right?
Right. Well, he does get something like that. But.
Yeah, but like I know some of Doctor Strange, so I know that he has an amulet that like.
I honestly think that Doctor Strange is like lore, or like just his world has a lot to work with, So they probably just cherry picked whatever was good and threw it in this film. I don't know because
I know they don't follow they don't always follow exactly.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Doctor Strange, so seeing all that stuff was really like. I'll say this: I didn't know that his cape makes him fly.
I didn't know that either.
I thought he just flew. So like
Like through some magic,
Yeah,
right?
because he's all fucking magic. I don't know. Wires? But anyway, like, yeah, the
wires.
the
Pull strange is
yeah.
flies.
So that thing is like you see him get that, and I'm like, oh, that
It's
explains
CG,
it.
right? It's like the whole thing is CG. Is
I think his cape is real, but there's parts where it kind of moves around on its own, so it's CG.
okay.
But yeah,
But like I saw that, it was released during the time where like I wasn't really going to theaters. That was one of the ones I did really want to watch because it was one of those things like Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't know anything about, but when I went to go see it, since I had no expectations, I saw it and I freaking loved it.
okay, well, unlike Guardians of the Galaxy, like I saw Guardians and I was like, it was cool, it was trying really hard to be funny. I don't really appreciate that.
But it didn't hide that.
The licensed music was kind of like
It was like one licensed song.
dude, what they have like the whole fucking playlist on iTunes.
Oh wait, you're right. You're right. No, you're right.
Like
you're right.
to those are just my nitpicks. They're just things I don't really like.
Okay.
But Doctor Strange was already like at the end as well. It said, "Oh, Doctor Strange will return in like some other movie," and I was actually like, "Okay, I want to see that. I want to see him come. I want to see all these guys come back."
I see.
Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of like, I was like, man, I just saw this one. I don't really care that they're gonna come back. They're just. I don't know.
Do you remember the last part of that, where they do the little? Marvel always does their little, and now
yeah,
this.
And after the credits.
Did you see that part?
Yeah, they recommended Arrested Development.
That's a bad joke.
No, they had two of those actually. Those like they showed those credits where they do it like it's like animated.
Yeah.
And then they showed a clip, and then after all the real credits or whatever, they had like another little scene. So, yeah, they do have that if that's what you're asking. But I don't want to.
Oh, because in the Guardians of the Galaxy one, that was probably one of the worst ones.
Yeah, I was like, what the? I was like, I sat here for like 10 extra minutes for that. It's fucking stupid.
You don't like Howard the Duck?
No. When I saw that movie, like I didn't see the actual movie, but I remember seeing the trailer for it or something for the Steven Spielberg movie, the original Howard the Duck.
Oh yeah, right. Which features that lady from Caroline in the City.
Yeah, Marty's mom in Back to the Future, right?
Yes, yeah, the young mom, yeah. Or
I remember seeing that fucking duck, and I was like, if I saw that in real life, I would kill it. There was no way that thing would live on this earth. It's so creepy. I hate it. So yeah, those are my experiences with Howard the Duck. Wanting to kill it and then waiting 10 extra minutes just to find out.
I had no idea that's where it was going either. But look, it seems like because you don't even like Ant-Man, right?
It was okay.
Because it doesn't feel like you like jokes in your superhero movies.
It's not that I don't like jokes. I don't like when they're too heavy-handed, like you said. Like the thing that got annoying in Ant-Man was that Hispanic guy who was just like, and then this fool told that fool, and then that fool told that fool, and I was like, all right, you guys already did this. Like I get it. I get enough of this at home.
All right, okay.
I mean, in where we live. We live around fucking gangsters and stuff.
All right, but for example, like
I was gonna say in Guardians, it's not too bad, but like
in Guardians, it's always Chris Pratt's character that does the jokes. Everybody else is pretty serious.
No, Rocket Raccoon makes jokes too.
He only makes jokes. He doesn't really make jokes. He just insults people.
There's Chris Pratt. What's his name? Star-Lord.
Yeah.
He makes a joke in the beginning, like, oh, if you put one of those black lights in here, it would light up like a Jackson Pollock painting. And I was like, this is disgusting, dude. So there's just like semen all over your room. I don't know.
Well, they are in a spaceship. They're 0G.
Well, that's what I mean. It was just kind of like.
But see, Rocket, Raccoon? Is that Rocket Raccoon?
Yes, he's a raccoon.
Yes, thank you. Rocket Raccoon, he goes like, oh, all we're going to need is that guy's leg. That's the joke.
That joke was a little better because I didn't know what the punchline was going to be.
Right, so it's kind of revealed afterwards. See, that's not really a joke. It's just him being a dick to people.
That's I appreciated that because it was in character. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too hard on it.
I think Chris Pratt's character uses humor as a way to get out of a lot of things.
The whole like I am Groot thing. How
Yeah.
you can only say that.
Yeah.
They were trying to make jokes around that too, and I was like, all right, fucking move on. I don't care. Yeah, he's okay. Okay, he's but fucking tree. I get it. You know, I don't care. Not to mention, after that movie came out, I had to see like fucking Baby Groot merchandise like everywhere.
Yeah, and part 2 came out a little while ago, and people have been talking about Baby Groot
Again,
because he's running. He's not in the potted plant anymore. He's running around like a little baby. Like he's actually has baby mentality.
Oh really?
Yeah, like
it's still Vin Diesel.
that's a good question. I don't know. The only thing I've been seeing is that they've really pushed the comedy thing.
Cool.
Because
Great.
what is it? It's like that. In the trailer there was this part where Star-Lord says something really embarrassing, and then the joke is that the one dude who's played by the wrestler, he keeps pointing out that it's really embarrassing for you. It's like, oh, that's really embarrassing. Because she said something, and like he's really heavy-handed with it.
Oh, because he's like really literal, right?
Yeah, Drax,
Yeah.
I believe is his name. And he,
Yeah, I think it is. They're very good.
Yeah, and he just keeps reiterating how embarrassing it is, and it's very embarrassing.
That
I was like, I didn't love that, but people are saying the movie's good. I haven't watched it yet, but they're saying that's still really good. Maybe it's not the.
It's funny because people were saying that guy can't act, but the character that he plays is kind of like in tune with his acting.
Yeah,
Like
I would agree.
He's like monotone, and he's just like a tough guy, and he doesn't.
Yeah, he's not acting for anything. He's just saying these things. They're expository.
He just dresses like that at home, and he walked in.
Dude.
No, I don't know. I would just say watch Doctor Strange. I think it has a lot to offer as far as like visuals.
Mm-hmm.
So like as far as that, I was pretty hooked off of that already.
I think I'm gonna have to take a look at it because you're. I don't know if it's like some of your tastes are a little like weird because like you'll like a movie like Mortal Kombat and say it's awesome, but and I can barely get through.
I didn't like Steel. That's
no, it's not. It's not even that I like Steel. Look, listen, I won't defend. Like we could drop Steel. I'll say I don't give a shit about Steel because I don't give a shit about Kazam either. But your sensibilities are really, really weird. It trips me out because like
I don't know. Maybe it's because his name was Steven. There's a lot of Marvel superheroes named Steven.
oh, that's right. His name is
Captain America's Steven.
yeah, Steve Rogers. Yeah. The only reason I was saying this because like when we play video games, you sometimes like really like awful ones too, and you'll play them.
Video games?
Yeah.
Of course.
And you'll just be like, oh no, it's good. I was like, this is awful.
Yeah.
I don't know why you like playing this. Like for a while, and I have that sensibility too because remember, like I was trying to play, like when the Wii first came out. Remember, I played Red Steel and I was like, it's good, and you're just like, this is the most awful game I've ever played. And I think I said in the last, what was it? I think it was episode 2 again. I think I said that I was like, I really like the Wii motion controls because they did a really cool stuff with it.
Okay, this is a good point for me to talk about. Last week we were talking about Indiana Jones, remember?
Yeah.
I remembered like, oh, I have this Indiana Jones games for Wii. It's called
oh my god, that is
it's right there. I don't know what the fuck it's called.
Ow.
It's called like here it is. It's called Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. And the only reason I own this game I only own it because it has the LucasArts game on it.
Fate of Atlantis.
Yeah, right?
You know you can buy that on Steam.
Yeah, I know. I want to play it on my TV or something. I don't know.
You want to play it with the enhanced Wii controls.
Yeah, it doesn't have any. It's just the pointer.
That's not true. It has the pointer.
It has the pointer, yeah. Okay, that's it.
And you know what? I will say this. That pointer is really helpful in that game because...
Sometimes.
No, it is because when
you can use the nunchuck and you can just use the thing.
Yes, but what I'm saying is like... The reason I thought it was helpful is because when you move it around...
Let me get to my point
okay,
before you start this.
Go to your thing.
You have to play the game a little bit to unlock it.
That's awful.
And the game fucking sucks, dude. It's really bad.
I watched you play it. Like I watched you play it for like a little, like maybe a couple minutes. And even in those little nuggets of moments, you looked really like frustrated with some of the parts.
It's not like frustratingly hard, but I told you this the other day. I feel like there's a lot of Wii games that would be decent if you just didn't have to use shitty motion controls. And I'm not saying motion controls are shitty, but third-party companies don't know how to use them, you know?
I agree.
There's like different whip motions that you have to do with the Wii remote in this game. Mm-hmm. Like one of them is like, oh, you can grapple their feet with your whip. You just have to swing downward. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, any way I move this controller, it's just gonna do something. Like, there's no way it's gonna know the difference, and it really doesn't. They're not.
I don't think they what is it? I don't think they programmed it with finesse, I guess you want to say, because there are games that did use the motion controls really, really well. I think Boom Blocks is one of those games that stands out. Where, by the way, it was executive produced by Steven Spielberg. Like he had his name attached to that game, but it was like playing Jenga with the Wii, and it was pretty accurate, wouldn't you say? Like that game in particular.
I never played that game.
Yes, you did.
I know we had it, but I never played it.
It was one of those games where it was a giant Jenga piece, and you had to take pieces out.
No, I understand it.
No, I'm sure you played it because it was a party game here at the house for a long time.
Well, all I was gonna say is something like Mario Galaxy, for example. Mm-hmm. The only motion controls it really has was like you point at the screen to collect the little star bits or whatever,
and to shoot them.
You shake the remote just in any way just to get Mario to do the spin attack. Mm-hmm. And then certain like caveat times that you would use it to do like a surfing game or like a. Do you remember that? Like
when you on top of that weird dinosaur thing,
or like that weird ball thing. You have to put the Wii remote straight up and.
Yeah, it was a joystick. It would turn into a joystick.
And it only did that a couple times.
There was
a lot of other Wii games ask you to just put up with these fucking controls the whole game.
By the way,
that's a real whipping is like you have to do it, and sometimes it doesn't work. Like, what the fuck, dude?
There was also the ones where you would have those weird stars that you would click on to pull Mario to it.
Oh yeah,
that was.
I like that.
But see I think the strongest part of all that of that game is the pointing functionality, because you could use it in several different places. And in that game that you're talking about, like Fate of Atlantis, the sub game that came with that game, that was one of the improvements. Was the pointer was more like a mouse.
Yeah.
And the thing was when you moved it over something, if it was clickable, it would highlight as B.
Yeah.
B. Yeah. And B was what was it? It was like
it would default action.
It would do the
so it'd probably look at it.
So it was an improvement. But I remember
to a certain extent. But you know what? I'm not that far from my TV.
Yeah, but you were off to the left.
Okay, but the little hand comes up all shaky.
But again, you're off to the thing is facing straight forward.
That's why I kept using the nunchuck. Okay.
I know, because when I sat in
my setup is flawed. All right, I get it.
Well, I'm just saying because I sat right in front of the TV and it was much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's Wii controls that worked really well, and there's Wii controls that were just like you're saying, third parties that were just just have them shake it.
I think Wii Sports is another good example.
Yes,
it's bowling was like you just swing it some way, let go of the beat button, boom, you bowl.
Right.
Or like tennis was like you just swing the fucking thing however you want, and you hit the ball like perfect. Like those little mini games were like very good at using the right amount of motion controls.
And I think the follow up was Wii Sports Resort. I think they did that.
Those were pretty fun too. I like.
They were awesome. They were really good because I felt like they were attempting to show off different ways that people could use. Like the sword fight one was great, but remember you need to have Wii Motion Plus with it.
It came with Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah, it did. That's what. But the one that was really impressive was the arrow one. That
one was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that one because it showed off that you can be you could do a sniper game with that kind of thing. Like you could do so many targeting games that were a lot more accurate just by moving.
Maybe
because you weren't pointing at the screen. Remember, you're just holding the Wii.
My whole point was that if you make the game a little bit simpler, the motion controls are actually enjoyable. Like if you're trying to make something super hard to get good at, and you're forcing me to use this this medium that isn't super what I'm used to, it's gonna feel weird, you know?
Right, but there's games that did that and they made you accustomed to the controls a lot faster. Like I really appreciated and liked Red Steel 1 and 2. I will say Red Steel 2 was better than Red Steel 1.
Red Steel 1 was... I went through that whole game just swinging my arms like an idiot. I only got it recently, too, because of that thing you just said that I like bad games.
Yeah.
And it was pretty fun.
Did you even use the nunchuck, like parry?
Nah, you don't have to.
You don't have to, but
You
I'm
just
saying it
gotta
makes it much more enjoyable.
You just gotta swing.
Jesus, man. You make me so angry when you say... Because part 2 is way better.
Yeah,
Part 2 is done in cell shade.
Part 2 is, like, completely different, right?
Yeah, part 2 is, like, cell shaded. You're this... You use the gun a lot more.
You're like a
in that
cowboy
way.
or something?
You're this weird... you remember Vash the Stampede from Trigun?
Sure.
You look like a ripoff of that.
Okay.
And everything is cell shaded, so it looks like Borderlands.
Cool.
And you really only travel in this little HUD world where you have like a base that you walk back to and everything. It's better because it has just more of a style to it. And then the motion controls are, I don't want to say dumbed down, but they're simplified.
Okay.
And then it's not just swinging your sword.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, like Mario Galaxy does a perfect job of it because it doesn't get in the way of me moving around and jumping.
It's
you
true.
know?
It's not like a core function.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Can you believe the Wii came out like fucking 10 years ago?
No. Only because it feels like the Wii kind of never left. Only because the Wii U used those controllers as well. So I felt like I've always kind of owned a Wii.
Yeah, that's
Wii,
what I
Wii
mean.
U.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
No,
Remember how we got ours too?
I remember it because I was like,
You had
every GameStop was getting like 10.
Yeah, you had a friend that like worked at one or something.
Yeah, I worked at I didn't work at Funkoland. I worked at GameStop, and I was the person that was my boss really liked me.
Okay.
And like when I gave my 2 weeks because I was gonna start doing my internship and everything, I told him, "Hey, can you hold a Wii for me?" And then when I showed up that day, they were like, "We only have 10 Wiis." Like you had to wait in line like at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then somebody came out and they were like, "We only got 10 Wiis here."
So the first 10
blah, blah, blah.
people.
So the first 10 people, you guys are the only ones getting one. And I looked at him because I think I was 13th in line or something. And then he walked up at me like, "Don't worry." I was like, "Oh, dope."
Nice, yeah.
So I got one, and I remember every place was only getting like a handful of them.
I will say, like when I first played the first game we played was that tennis.
Yeah.
Wii Sports Tennis. The first time I like swung the remote and stuff, I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty cool."
Yeah,
like,
that was pretty awesome.
I really bought into the gimmick that night, you know.
We played what were the games we got? I know I got Red Steel.
You got Red Steel, and I remember thinking this game looks fucking dumb. Just because, not like graphic wise or whatever, it just, the way you have to turn your head in that game, you have to aim the cursor to the side or something.
Just turned around,
and
yeah.
it just felt super slow, and I was like, this is never going to work. I will never play this game.
And you never did, except until earlier this year?
Until later on when it was a joke and it was funny.
I hate you so much. Like, I'm willing to experiment with like all sorts of different. Like, the only thing I didn't want to do is when Sony, like when the Wii was launched, then Sony started doing the Sony Move. That was what it was called, right?
Yeah.
That seemed like, why are you even trying to do this? Because the Wii was obviously an inferior graphic system.
You know what it was? I think when the Wii got announced that it had motion controls.
Yeah.
They added 6-axis motion to their DualShock or whatever.
That's right. That's when their controllers went all shitty.
I mean, it's a fucking good controller.
the 6-axis one?
Yeah, the DualShock is good.
The DualShock is good, not the 6-axis one.
It's the same controller.
Well, I don't know what it is, but I remember one of them. I was like, "This feels like a cheap piece of plastic."
Oh, the first one they released without rumble.
Right, and it felt like a piece of plastic, and the triggers were all weird.
Whatever, they've been using the same controller for like 30
No,
years.
I remember that one in particular. Like the shoulder buttons, my fingers kept slipping off them because they were like bent under.
Oh yeah, they were whatever.
Yeah, and then they went back to having them regular, but that was like supposedly the 6-axis controller, no rumble. Those weird shoulder buttons.
The shoulder button stayed with the DualShock 3.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I've owned a PlayStation since then, so there you go.
The PS4 controller is pretty nice too. I mean, I still prefer a mouse and
PlayStation
keyboard.
4,
but-
really?
Yeah, it's good.
I go on Xbox. It's the same shit. It's the same shit across the board.
Well,
But like
you
the
were
reason,
saying the Move or whatever, right?
yeah, the Move and then the Microsoft Connect. I was like, why? Like, I never understood why they even did the backstep, because the Microsoft Connect.
What do you
and
mean by the
Playsta-
back step?
Because Xbox and PlayStation were obviously way better consoles graphically. You
Yeah.
know, the graphics were way beyond what the Wii could do. Their games were obviously more attuned to like an older crowd,
Like a serious crowd, right?
serious quote unquote crowd, if
Yeah.
you want to say that. The Nintendo was just being Nintendo.
Seriously pathetic crowd.
But when they saw the number signs, like the numbers going up on the Wii, just because it was something different, why did they even try? They were like, dude, we're doing fine.
Because they needed to offer the same. Like there was No More Heroes got ported to PS3.
Like 4 years after the fact.
Yeah,
But no, it wasn't even that. It was
And then-
No More Heroes 2.
but no, they have the first one too.
No, but I'm saying that was the one that were like, oh, it's coming out on all the systems. But at that point, nobody gave a crap.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, they just wanted to offer motion controls on their consoles
But it's
too.
but it's such an afterthought. Like the Nintendo Wii was built for that.
Yeah.
And then these guys are like, oh, we kind of have that too. And he's like,
Well-
oh, you got the system. And it was like 4 games.
A lot of people preferred Just Dance on Connect, didn't they?
Yes.
Like, so I mean, there you go.
Okay, but it's not like. Wait, Just Dance?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even stupider too.
because the
it's
camera like tracked.
Oh
your,
my gosh, that is awful. Because they obviously had Dance Central, a much better game. The Dance Central was a much better game. Dance Central was such a joke, or Just Dance was such a joke compared to that one. Because it was like, let's cover all our bases and
Listen,
just go across it.
I've never played any of those dance games.
That is not true.
I've never played any of them.
Can't be true. We have a niece, and I want to believe that you're a good uncle. At one point, you were like, sure, I'll dance with you.
She's never asked me to dance.
Really?
No.
That's crazy.
All I was gonna say was I didn't. I just thought it was funny that you that's the part you blew up at. Like, Dance Central's way better than just.
First of all,
Dance.
they really okay. I got 1, 2, and 3. Like I
Okay.
got them all.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily pay for all of them, but I know I at least paid for the first one, and they were good games. Like they did what they said they were gonna do. The graphics were really nice. The whole setup was great. Just Dance is like somebody went into a green screen and did their thing.
I actually didn't even know there was a difference. I thought they were the same game.
No, it's like Dance Central.
So do
is
they
a whole-
still make Dance Central?
No,
Okay, so
they just do Just Dance because literally
so
just
that one won.
one question mark. It's like all they do is take these dancers, put them in front of a green screen, and then they throw graphics on top of it.
Yeah.
It's very simplified, and it's like the
Fucking
point
dance
system is
game,
very
dude.
ambiguous.
It's a dance game, dude.
I
don't
know,
care.
but Just Dance feels like shovelware.
You know
Nothing.
what's funny
It
actually?
sells, I guess.
You know what's funny about that actually? Our niece will sometimes just watch the videos on YouTube and just dance with the video. It doesn't even matter that it's a fucking game. Like they don't.
That's
even
what I'm saying. There's
they
no.
don't even care anymore. They just want to see the
Yeah, because like
people dance.
the weird thing about like the difference between Dance Central and Just Dance is like, think about it this way: you it's the same exact game if you play it on Wii or the Kinect.
Okay.
So
Well, I was-
like the accuracy on it is like if you're holding the nunchuck, that's supposed to be the way it tracks you. Just holding the nunchuck.
I was under the impression that Connect like saw your whole body.
That's what I'm saying.
And it was more accurate than the Wii.
Dance Central does that. It tracks how you do it. So like when you're dancing with that game, if a limb on the dancer on screen is red, that means it didn't pick it up or you're doing
okay.
it wrong, and it grades you on that. Just Dance is like, sure, what that's kind of how it does. It just doesn't work.
That's why it's more popular, dude. No one gives. It says like you did great.
Why do I care so much?
Yeah. I didn't think you cared that much.
It's only because it's lazy. The Just Dance just seems lazy,
Okay.
and it feels like that's Ubisoft all over.
Fair
Like
enough.
I don't know why, but everything Ubisoft does now feels like the same game.
They had a lot of titles for Wii, didn't they?
Ubisoft,
Yeah,
they
they
had
did.
all the rabbits
Yeah,
on
those
there.
things. Rayman
They had
and-
Rayman. They had all sorts of junk on there.
Rayman.
Yeah, like the whole thing. But like more recently, it was just like now it's everything they do is open world. Don't they do like Far Cry?
Yeah.
Isn't that them Far Cry? And then they did a one that was called like Tom Clancy's Badlands or something like that, and it was
I
an
don't
open
know.
world. And then they did what is that hacking one?
People love those Far Cry games, dude.
Why?
I don't know. They
It's
announced
the same game.
that's the one, right? They just announced part 5.
Yeah, that's the one where he's like it's not in a third world country now. It's like at home or something.
It's like in America or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Something.
you're
Oh yeah,
fighting-
it's like in a. I don't know if it's exact, but it feels like it's in a southern state and there's a cult.
Okay.
And then before that, it was in the jungle and blah blah blah. And then one time they went back in time to the primitive era. I think it was called Primal.
Yeah, that one sucked apparently.
That one sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
But it feels like even from way back in the Wii, they started just doing shovelware. Mm-hmm. And it just, I don't know. Even their Assassin's Creed stuff has gotten worse.
Well, what I was saying was like I kind of felt like a lot of Wii games were like that just because developers were hopping on this bandwagon, you know, because the Wii was selling very well, and they were just like, let's just fucking shit out a game real quick, put it on this console just so somebody will buy it. There's like a whole slew of games that are done by like the same company. They're these ones like they're like game show games.
Is it the same company that did that Carnival games?
Maybe, but it's like Deal or No Deal and like Family Feud,
Wheels of Fortune.
Yeah, all those games.
Essentially everything the Game Grumps played
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah, a lot of YouTubers play those.
Jeopardy.
Exactly.
Well, it's you know what it was is there was finally a way for because one of the things like when we got the NES Mini.
Yeah.
I remember I saw you guys playing like Family Feud and Wheel of Fortune, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I remember one of the like horrendous parts of that game was, type in your answer with this D-pad. It's awful. But with this one, it was easier to type because you were using a pointer.
Yeah,
like you just
sure.
type with the pointer,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I think brought a lot of people there. Is like, there's a pointer, so you can just point to buttons and then whatever. You don't have to develop this whole like system of like in
Should have made more shooters then. You know that we have House of the Dead 1 and 2.
Those were great.
We played that for a long time. Actually,
We did actually. We got our dad to play it a couple times too.
Yeah, those games were like, those are like the type of games they should have just made.
And then they didn't they do one called like Left 4 Dead Overdrive or something? Overkill.
We have that one too. Yeah,
That one's great too.
it is, but there's a lot of cussing in it, so I can't
Yeah,
play
because
with
it
I can't play with like my niece and nephew. I think it actually holds the record for like most fucks in a game.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's kind of badass.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think they were trying too hard to be edgy just because it was like the Wii. You know?
Well, think about it. I mean, where are you supposed to go with that game? They went from this weird Japanese bad translation game to part 1 and 2 were like 2 and 3 were like that. They were just like these really badly translated stories and games. 'Cause remember, like part 2 is infamous for those like whoever G is in the game.
Yeah.
There was like, I've already taken care of G.
G was the guy that did all the research.
You're next.
You don't remember that?
Yes, I remember.
When
And
you
he died.
When you found out the weaknesses to the bosses or whatever, like
It was G's notes.
it was G's files. Yeah,
Yeah,
he had
yeah.
like files on every boss.
I remember.
So he was the guy. That's why they fucked him up, dude.
And then there was that
They were
weird...
like, this guy knows all our secrets. We got to get rid of him.
And he dies.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, he dies. I just remember...
That game is like you were saying, like it's badly translated or whatever.
Yeah.
And the voice actors like were really like just phoning it in.
Yeah.
That's what makes that game so amazing. But and you know, it's funny. It kind of ties into what else we were saying. House of the Dead Overkill is kind of too self-aware. You know?
think so?
Yeah, because it does all that cussing and stuff. It's trying really hard to be like a grindhousey like.
Well, I think that was I think for a while there was that theme going around.
So that's why I'm saying like the original House of the Dead games. They weren't trying to be like campy or cheesy. I think they were actually trying to be serious, scary games, and like the way they were translated and stuff, they just came off as funny. And
I think part 1, which wasn't on the Wii, The original. No, it was 2 and 3. It was House of the Dead 2 and 3.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Part 1 was trying to be scary because you literally go into a haunted house, right?
Uh-huh.
Part 2, you're going into this place where these monsters have been released, but you're like in modern day. Like it's trying to be. It's a little more campy because there's that flying bat that talks to you. So it is the second one is campy. The third one is trying to be super serious because remember you're in a research lab.
Yeah, the third one was okay. I remember
the third one was a piece of garbage.
It had these parts where it was like you have to save your partner.
Yeah,
and
that was dumb.
And I was like, I don't want to rely on my friend.
It's just me. Just me.
Yeah, just my skill is the only one that matters.
But the problem was like part 2 was just really, really bad and colorful and had these really ridiculous enemies. Because remember there was these guys with buckets on their heads and they would come after you and like you had to shoot the bucket off to get to their faces.
Don't remember that actually.
Well, and then that stupid bat thing, like that thing would talk to you and be like, I'm gonna get you, and it would fly away.
His the first boss is like a little bat, right? That's what you're talking about.
Is that the first boss?
Yeah, he's a little bat that talks to you, and his
No, he's not the first boss. The first boss is some guy who has a cut in his chest.
That's
and you gotta
Carl,
shoot.
Right?
And you have to shoot the bat.
What I was gonna say is the little bat has a big fucking headless dude named Carl.
Yeah, and he says, "Get him, Carl."
Yeah.
See what I mean? It's super campy.
Okay, maybe, but that was kind of my point. Maybe his name wasn't Carl in Japanese. Maybe it was like a fucking cool name, but the translators were just, or maybe the Japanese company was just like, let's just give him this name. It sounds
Just
cool.
call him Carl.
Yeah.
That seems like a cool
No,
badass
the
name.
guy you're talking about, I think, is the second boss.
Is it?
He's like this amphibious thing with like a vagina on his chest.
Oh, you have to shoot him off the bridge.
Yeah.
That's right. Maybe you're right, yeah. I just remember the first part, there was this... I just remember there being a slash in his chest, and you had to shoot the slash because it would come at you, and then if you didn't shoot it enough in the chest, it raised its arms, and if you shot it in the chest enough, it would back up.
That was the bat guy. That was a little...
No, because remember the bat guy, you had to shoot the bat to kill him.
For the first part or something.
No, I remember he comes back a second time.
Okay. Whatever. If people are gonna fucking look this up and they're gonna be all mad because we're arguing about it.
But anyway, that was when kind of the Wii was... That was what it was good at. The pointer function, I think, was flawless on it. Mm-hmm. Because as long as you were centered in front of it and using it, it was really good.
Like Mad Dog McCree is a good example.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my gosh. I can't... Do you actually have that game?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. I remember we originally played it on a Mac.
Let me just talk about Mad Dog McCree for like 5 minutes.
Oh, you want to park here? Talk about Mad Dog McCree?
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I only know that game on the Mac.
Yeah.
That's the only way I know it.
Aside from like Power Pete and point and click games that we had on Macintosh, we also had this game called Mad Dog McCree, which was like an arcade shooter, right?
You know who made it?
American Laser Games.
But you
So their fucking logo or whatever.
They said it, American Laser Games.
Yeah, they whispered it to you. It was very weird. It was that game where you played it on a computer and your fucking crosshair was basically just your mouse, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it was impossibly hard because you had to make some of these shots really quick and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like live action and you have to shoot real actors or whatever.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games of all time.
Of all time, Steve?
Yeah.
Jeez. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's like you love these awful games. These awful games that are just like shovelware. Because the way that this game works is awful. It's like, it works in kind of the way that light gun works. It's like if you click in this certain space, it either plays one movie or it plays another.
Yeah.
So it always had this weird glitch. When you shot, you were like, did I get him? And then if it plays the falling action, you're like, oh, I got it. Yeah, it would freeze because
that was
it's
on
loading.
Mac. This ports the yeah. This is the ideal port. This is the one they play at tournaments and stuff, dude.
Oh my god.
Well, anyway, it's one of those types of shooters, and I just...
Is it easier or harder?
On Wii?
Yeah.
It's easier. Way easier.
Way easier? Like I could beat it on my first go?
Maybe.
If I kick it up to Marshall?
If you're a good shot. No.
Stranger!
Yeah. some of the things were impossible on our Macintosh because, like,
The quick draw was the one.
yeah,
that was the
because the
hardest.
only way to reload was like to click off the screen, and it
Yeah.
was like super hard to click off the
Because-
screen and then bring it onto the screen to.
Because the indicator for
Uh-huh.
that was your little hand, like your pointer was a little hand with a gun.
Yeah,
And when you moved it far enough away, your gun would be in a little holster.
yeah, like it
Like
would
you,
reload.
exactly. So you'd have to move it enough that you saw that. And we didn't really have. We had a Macintosh one-click mouse, and it was
Right.
that old rollerball, and it would get really dirty. It's just like, and we'd have to constantly clean it. So it was an awful mouse.
Yeah.
So it's
But
one of the-
anyway, just YouTube it, Mad Dog McCree. Very fun game, fun for the whole family.
oh my god, it was so awful. It's so awful, and we played it because we had nothing else to play.
Yeah.
But why? What is it about that game that you find so endearing? Is it just the live action?
Maybe
Because
it's
maybe that's the theme.
I mean, maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe it's the bad acting. I
don't know. Like I'll say this: of all the actors on that
game.
quote unquote game,
Uh-huh.
the old man with the donkey,
Yeah.
he sells it.
I think he has an IMDb page actually.
He does. Oh my god.
I think he's another
He sells
stuff.
his part really, really well. And I just like to point out that he dies in the first 10 seconds of the game.
Let me just say No, it wasn't
And
gonna
somehow comes back to
Yeah.
life.
No, you could save him.
You can save him or you cannot. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you still
He
progress.
still progresses and he still talks to you.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is, I just like live action like video and games.
I was
sometimes.
about to say that
Yeah.
because Mortal Kombat you love. It's a live action thing.
Well,
This game you
there's this other game that I've been wanting to play called Contradiction. It's on Steam.
okay.
Called Contradiction Spot the Liar or something, and it's like video clips of people and you have to guess who's lying and stuff like that. Well, whatever.
This sounds like a weird LA Noire thing.
Kind of. I was really bad at that game actually. I thought
LA
I would
Noire?
like it. Yeah.
So was everybody. A game's it's just like
No, you know what? I played that with a friend, and they were just like, this guy's lying. I can tell. And every person I interviewed, I was like, I think they're telling the truth. I don't think this person would kill anybody. And then sure enough, it cuts to like, God damn it, Phelps! Why did you let that guy go? He obviously killed somebody. Yeah. So whatever.
and then you still moved on.
Yeah, I think in that game you still,
You fail upwards.
which is weird. I don't ever think I finished that game.
It's no like I don't know a lot of people that finish
But
that
another game is called Tex Murphy. They had a Kickstarter for a newer one recently.
Mm-hmm.
Tex Murphy used to be an old point and click game on like DOS.
Mm-hmm.
And they just made one recently that was it had live action people in it, and it was a point and click game. So you walked around like in a 3D space, but whenever you got to a cutscene, it was live action, and it was pretty good.
Oh, I used to like those games. Like that kind of reminds me like you literally walked around a 3D space or it was like you moved over a screen.
No, it was like 3D space.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's different cuz
Whenever you got
I know
to-
a lot of PC Mac era games were like Myst where you clicked over
Yeah,
to another screen.
Exactly.
Was it like that?
It kind of reminds me of
Okay.
that.
Because there's a lot of those that were more like, oh, let's tell this story, or this is a murder case, or this
Yeah.
and that. Like,
We used to have a Dracula game too, remember? That was like
yeah,
that.
which I never beat because I kept getting
That game scared me.
mugged.
I remember it had like this scream in the beginning or something, and I would always turn it off.
Yeah,
It was too scary.
This game was awful because if you didn't go to the logic of that game was if you didn't go to the right address, somebody would mug you.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't matter that you had a little weapon in your hand. Like, I thought that was the thing is like, oh, if you get this weapon, you'll knock somebody out. I was like, nope, doesn't matter.
Huh.
And it was always nighttime everywhere you went. It was like, please take me to 123 Fake Street.
Oh, okay.
And then he'll go, right away, sir. And he'll go, clap, 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 clap.
Like,
we have arrived at your destination.
remember that game Hellcab?
Hellcat was stupid, too.
But that game also scared me.
Well, because the driver looked like Satan. Like, that's what...
It had hell in the name, and I was like,
Yeah.
no way, dude.
And then
I'm not going near this game.
it went through this really bad tutorial part where it was like, oh, you don't have any money? Go take some money out of the ATM. And you try to type in your PIN number, and you type in 666, and it was like, no funds. And he's like, oh, I'll tell you what. You sign this contract, and then that's how the game starts. But you have
okay.
to run through this whole song and dance to get there. And then you get thrown back to a coliseum. Like, there's
yeah.
no. It's so stupid.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it was just because maybe I'm just nostalgic for that stuff. But sometimes I feel like when there's actors in it, I can get more invested in it. Like
Yeah,
it's more immersive, you know.
I will say that as dumb as I think some of these games are, the performances do sell them. Like, we still remember those stupid live action games and the performances because they were so over the top.
Yeah.
And so blatantly bad that they stick with us. And maybe that's what they were trying to do. They were like, let's make this so over the top. Let's make it
like
campy.
I'm sure if I could have afforded like Night Trap, like a Sega CD and Night Trap back when it was new, I probably would have loved that game, but I didn't. I've never played it. It's way too fucking hard to play now. You have to spend like a bunch of money to get all that stuff together.
Well, I know they re-released it recently.
Oh, did they?
On PlayStation 4, I want to say, or you can download it on.
Oh, that's
cool. Yeah, so
I might get that.
Like I said, those point and click games are always kind of nostalgic to me too. Like there's that, but there's more recent ones that are better. Like that game that you showed me recently about like you're in this mansion and you're trying to get this contract.
Yeah, that's a little different though. That was more a traditional point and click puzzle game.
But that was like akin to Myst.
What was that game called?
And it's more like
it's called Safecracker, I think.
Yeah, there you go, Safecracker. And it was more about puzzles than it was about a narrative, really.
Yeah.
But no, I still love those old games. Like there was one that I remember playing. I didn't play it at our house. I played it at school, and it was about the Titanic. They were trying to solve a murder on the Titanic. I was like, what does this matter?
Yeah, they're all gonna die.
But it was the same kind of thing, like the live action. It would whenever you talk to somebody, it was a live action person digitized.
That's cool.
So that was kind of cool. And I used to love those like point and clicks where you would walk around something, and you'd have to talk to people to get info out of them.
There's a series of them called Gabriel Knight. I was trying to get into those for a while.
Gabriel Knight.
Yeah, but I couldn't run them on my computer because they're too old. So it was like they ran too fast, or like, you know what I mean? It was too old. My computer apparently was like too good or something.
Yeah, like when I tried to when I downloaded Sonic Adventure 2 on Steam.
Oh yeah, it was running like way too fast. And at first
it was running so fast that the sentences would overlap each other.
Yeah.
When he would say, "Hey, I'm Sonic."
And I know what you're thinking. Sonic too fast? How is that possible? Well,
right there.
There you go.
But yes, I think that might be a running gag. Is it you want it to be so campy, it's awful. I think that's what sells it to, because like you saying like things like The Room, I get it. Like they're so awful. But
not purposely though.
I don't know. I can't tell with that guy. I mean,
that guy's a fucking freak, dude. No offense to him.
I don't think anybody's
I love that
scared
guy,
of I don't think anybody's scared of pissing off Tommy Wiseau.
That point and click, they made a Room point and click on Newgrounds, and it's like my favorite game ever.
That was a really fun game.
It's really good. It's very well done.
But the thing is, you can't like. It really heavily relies on the fact that you've watched that movie.
Like for the humor of it or something?
No, it's like certain key things in the movie you have to do in the game,
yeah,
and if you don't know to do that, like the record everything thing. Wow, that was redundant. When you have to record everything, if you don't know to do that, you can't progress further in the game.
Well, that's my video game recommendation of the week.
Mad Dog. And good luck, by the way, good luck finding Mad Dog McCree.
No, not Mad Dog, the Room point and click on.
Oh my god.
Everyone can play that. You just need an internet connection.
And Newgrounds.
There you go.
You don't need a... I remember signing up for Newgrounds. You don't need to be signed up for Newgrounds. You just play that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is really good. I liked it. I remember one of the funny things about it was like, he's like, don't leave without showering.
Yeah.
You have to shower.
Or he's like smelly for the rest of the day or something.
Wow.
But anyway, so that pretty much covers the terrible shit that we wanted to talk about. I didn't plan on talking about all this time. I had other topics in mind, but whatever. It segued from a bad movie to bad Wii games back to bad shit. So.
I think it's just because I got so offended that you said Just Dance and Dance Central were the same thing. I think I went off on a tangent. Yeah. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, you got really upset. We're going to have to cut like 45 minutes of you talking about that out. But, final thoughts.
On the Wii or the whole episode?
On the whole episode, on shitty stuff in general.
I think you're way too harsh on Steel. Just saying. Just saying. Well, we're gonna watch Kazam, and it's gonna be just as bad. But for some reason, you'll say, "No, it's a good movie," just because it isn't about a superhero. It's about some big genie.
I'm excited to watch it now.
And then I'll watch Doctor Strange this week and let you know what I think. I have a feeling. I think we'll have similar opinions, but I think I'll bring something else to it. What about you? Final thoughts?
Steel sucked.
All
That's
right.
my final thought. Final word. It's no good. I wouldn't recommend it.
How many stars, Steve?
2.
2?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Out of 10. All right. All right, that does it for this week. So see you next week, guys.
See you guys.